What's up, everybody? I am Johnny Christ. This is Drinks with Johnny. Thanks so much for checking out the show. And thank you to Sweet Drop CBD Oil. That's right. Sweet Drop CBD Oil. There's a lot of misinformation out there about CBD oil. But if you head over to sweetdrop.com, there's no BS here. They tell you how it is. It's really just going to help kind of as a health supplement, some receptors in your brain that process food, as well as it can be a bit of a stress reliever in these very uncertain times. So I'm going to start it off this episode, as I have for many now, with a little blood orange from Sweet Drop. It tastes good, and guess what? If you head over to sweetdrop.com right now and use promo code DrinksWithJohnny, that's drinks with JOHNNY, you're going to get 20% off. It's a pretty good deal. So just head over there to sweetdrop.com and see what CBD oil can do for you. Now, on this episode of Drinks with Johnny, I am exceptionally excited. I'm going to have the pleasure, easy for me to say, to chat with somebody that I have not seen in many years in person. So without further ado, I give you Phil Demmel. How you doing, man?
Good, man.
How you
Thanks
been?
For having me.
Yeah.
JOHNNY.
Yeah, you start doing podcasts. I started listening to other people do their podcasts. Everyone's got these fun little ways of saying their names, so I figured I had to step in that game.
I like it. You'll add it to a jingle here pretty soon.
Yeah. So first and foremost, we all in this time we always have to start off by asking, how's everyone in your camp doing? Your family, your friends, amid the pandemic and the other social issues going on in the world today?
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Everybody here is healthy. Everybody's good. We kind of clamped down when we needed to. We own a bar, so we had to close the bar. We kept it open until the governor said, all right, time to shelter. That's when the shelter in place came in,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, California, Gavin. So we're doing all right, making the best of the downtime. For the bar, it's been about renovating. We finished the bar top itself, so we got a nice epoxy top in there now. It's called the Back Lounge. I live in Dublin, California. So it's kind of a sports bar.
So just to clarify, it's a sports bar in Dublin, California called
The Back Lounge.
The Back Lounge. Everybody, if you're in Dublin, California, or just passing by, make sure you stop by Phil's place, The Back Lounge. Newly remodeled by the time you get there. You're staying busy, obviously. I mean, I'm sure you were hit pretty hard having to close the bar, but giving you an option to remodel and do that, I'm sure it's keeping you really busy. There's a lot of other things I've seen that are keeping you busy right now, too. Let's just get into a few of those. I saw that you're no longer with Machine Head as of 2018, I believe.
Yep. December.
Yeah, and so then you've started some other projects, including the BPMD cover band project. How did that come together, man? I know we got some mutual friends in there, but I just wanted to ask, how is it just in passing, you've met these guys over the years in Machine Head, and then you're like, hey, let's do this together. It'd be a fun project, or how'd that come about?
Well, BPMD, which is Bobby Blitz, Mike Portnoy, Mark Mengy, and I'm the D.
Mm-hmm.
Portnoy jammed on a record with you, right? So,
yeah.
But I've actually known Mike since about 1988, my band that I'm in now, Violence. But we back in the original, the 21-year-old Violence, me, we were label mates when he was in Majesty, which became Dream Theater, So we met when they were in Majesty, actually. And so we've kept in touch and always, we're born the same month. I'm only like 3 weeks older than him. We got a lot of similar interests. And
well, you don't look older than him. I got to say, I see Mike pretty often still, and I'm
I got L'Oreal preference number 17 or something.
Yeah, well, we gotta tell Portnoy to step up his game then if you're the older one.
With it all in beard, So.
Yeah. Well, he's got the blue beard that he keeps going back to. I get it.
It works for him. But I jammed some Metal Allegiance gigs with Mark and Mike, and Bobby was part of that too. And Mark wanted to throw together. He was listening with his son, listening to Saturday Night Special by Skinner, and his son told him, "Hey, you should cover that." And so Mark knew that it wasn't a Metal Allegiance type of deal, but he wanted to reach out to some buddies and maybe just like, "Hey, let's do a cover record. Let's make it all 70s." And we're all, well, let's narrow it down and challenge ourselves anymore and just only American releases from the 70s.
Wow.
So we all picked 2 tunes. And we had 2 kind of group choices, and it was super fun, man. We just went out to Mike's house and jammed out the drum tracks in a day. I came home and tracked rhythms in a day, and
yeah, it's great. It's great being able to do a lot of this shit from our houses now, right? You don't have to all get together in some studio in Hollywood or whatever it is on the East Coast,
Keep some money in your pocket.
Yeah. Well, that brings me to another thing too. You've been doing these collab jams. I mean, it goes hand in hand with these covers you've been doing with BPMD, and you've done some really rad ones. And I believe it's only been under quarantine that you started doing these, right?
I did. Me and my wife. My wife Marta from Bleeding Through.
I do.
She had. We have a cover band when I'm at home. It's all my high school buddies, and we play all the sing along Journey songs. Well, someday love will, we just we pack in a stupid dive bar and everybody's singing AC/DC and Bon Jovi, and it's a lot of fun, man. I'll have to get you up for that because I know you like the rave. So
I would love to. It'd be so much fun. I love doing that shit.
So I pull some people up from down south to come up. Henry and Heidi from the Butcher Babies came up and played the last one, and Dave Root from Tesla, and we had a lot of local heroes to come and join us. But so there's this Allison Chains song called No Excuses that I always want to kind of jam out with her. And
okay.
We got the home studio here. We got a Pro Tools rig here. And so I just laid down some tracks and she sang on it. And it kind of morphed into the singing. I had my buddy Eric Bass from Shinedown. I reached out to him and said, "Hey, we need a bass player on this, man. And maybe, help us out in that sense." And it was super cool. So
yeah, so I mean, it just seems like you're kind of in the business of putting together these super groups. I mean, has it all been friends from the past that you've done all this with, or has there been anybody new that you didn't know and you're just like, "Hey, I wonder if he'd come on and do this jam with me"?
Besides, you were kind of proxy through Jericho for what we did. And I met you in 2004. Probably don't remember, but
oh no, I do. I was going to bring that up. Don't worry, we're going to bring that up. And our, at this time, we already know that we've done a cover of Ace's "High Iron Maiden," and we're recording this. We haven't released it yet, but it will be released by the time everybody hears this podcast.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
So it's totally cool. We're going to talk about all that, and we're going to talk about the first time we met. But aside from me, has there been anybody else that you've reached out to that you maybe only knew in passing, or maybe even less?
Yeah, I mean, it's all kind of like these different degrees of separation as we go. I did the one Bad Reputation with I knew Lizzie Hales. I knew Richie Faulkner. I knew Mike Inez, Dave McLean, obviously, and so that was everybody I knew. Then it kind of grew into the Michael Schenker group song that I did. I reached out to Johnny Tempest. I knew him. Then he had this like, "Let's get Graham Bonnet to sing on it," and legendary singer. So I did not know Graham. That went through Tempest, who reached out. So things kind of just finger out, and hey, maybe I could ask this guy to do this one. And I knew Jeff Scott Soto, who's from Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and he sang with Journey and Ingwe. And I did, this one isn't out yet, but it will be out by the time we talk. So I did Loss of Control by Van Halen.
Oh, wow. I can't wait to hear that one.
So I knew Jeff was the perfect, he's awesome, Roth, does the Roth stuff, cool. And I'm all, we need a bass player, man. I'm going to ask your buddy Billy Sheehan, and he did. I had jammed with Billy a couple times and knew him kind of in passing, but that was a real awesome get for that.
Absolutely. Billy Sheehan, one of the greats of all time, man. That's huge.
But mostly it's people that I'm kind of friendly with, and I didn't know Dirk from Megadeth all that well for the Black Sabbath song that we did, but Steve DiGiorgio from Testament knew him and reached out and grabbed him. Man, I didn't know Matt from Rancid, and I just put up one yesterday, Police Struck by the Dead
I
Kennedys.
saw that. I wanted to ask about that because for me, I thought that was exceptionally cool. Matt Freeman is like one of my biggest influences for bass playing of like all time. Like no shitting. It's like him and maybe two other guys that when I mention Matt Freeman, I don't even want to mention the other two because it doesn't really matter, right?
Right.
And I've had the pleasure of meeting Matt in passing on Warped Tours. Avenged used to be on a lot of Warped Tours in our early careers. So he's a great bass player, great dude. It's just fun because I've been watching Matt. I don't know if you're familiar with this too. Matt on Instagram has been putting out like not covers. He's been playing old Rancid songs and Operation IV songs. So he's been doing that already, and then I'm looking at it, and he does it in the same room for your guys' collab jam. So it's the same room, the same bass. He's been doing this other stuff, and he just got a big smile on his face jamming.
Smiling throughout the whole thing. He was so stoked.
Yeah. So that's a huge one, man. And then like we can get into the one that you and I did, Aces High. You reached out to me through our mutual friend Chris Jericho. Who sings on this one, as everybody knows. And, man, I just had a blast with it. Why did you pick Aces High, and why did you pick out the guys that you did to put this thing together?
So I know Josh Peralta and Nita Strauss. They're a couple, but I meet Josh, big football guy, so we talk sports. And so Nita had posted something on, hey, this is super cool, or something. On one of them that I put up, I said, you're next, name a song. She's all Maiden. I said, all right. So I reached out to them and I asked Josh. He's an amazing drummer, man. He's so sick. So I said, dude, you have to play drums on it, and we're thinking about singers, and I'm all, man, it's up there. That last note is super high, and so we got to get Jericho. Jericho would be perfect.
Yeah.
And then Chris, we're thinking about bass players and stuff, and hadn't really had anybody in mind yet. And because Harris, man, you've got to own it. And he suggested you, so I got to be honest. I was like,
I love this.
Chops? Does he got the chops? And you were like, dude, you've studied his bass lines, and you killed it, man. You did so good. I was really.
Man. Yeah, I appreciate it. I was excited it was Aces High. I learned that song in high school, and I was like, oh, perfect. I already know that one. I mean, I had to knock out a couple of cobwebs to go back to it, but Steve Harris is obviously another huge influence of mine. Getting to play his songs is we did another cover years ago for I think it was like a Kerrang magazine cover of Iron Maiden songs. We did Flash of the Blade back on. Yeah, you guys were on it too. Yeah, that was a great, and I loved everybody's covers on that. We were in Europe at the time touring with Iron Maiden when that came out, so we were listening to it. Yeah, it was really cool. So
let me see if I can show you. Is it that one right there?
I think so. What's the name of it? I can't read the name of it.
Maiden Heaven, Kerrang, tribute to Iron Maiden.
I think that was it. Yeah, I think that was the same one we were on. Don't hold me to it. It was a few years ago, but as you can see, I've probably drinking a few of those memories away.
Got the cobwebs out. I'm sure you have to do that.
Every once in a while. No, but doing a cover with you and Chris and Nita and Josh, I had an absolute blast. It was great putting together our videos. Those were super fun for me.
You need to put yours up just by its own, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's funny
watching it.
Yeah, I think I am actually. I got my director here and cameraman that helped me put it together. And we have an idea. We're gonna put it out just by itself on my Drinks with Johnny YouTube channel.
Yeah,
and have like pop up video kind of facts about how we put it together. And it's gonna be pretty funny because there's a couple little tricks in there.
But you got to keep he said something at the end was just like, oh man, you didn't, we might have to do it again, or you didn't nail that, or something like that.
Yeah, because we had it in our head. We walked through it a couple of times. For those of you who haven't seen it, go check out our cover of Aces High with Phil, Chris, Nita, Josh, and myself. It's a great video. Everyone did a great job. I was really happy to be a part of this one. But for my video of it. I just had my cameraman follow me around my house, and we kind of mapped it out a little bit, and then we just like went for it. We're like, we got to get it all in one take, though. We're not going to be editing this thing. It's got to be one fucking take. So I had to play the cover without Chris's vocals on it yet. I didn't have the Chris's vocals yet at the time. It was just, actually, I didn't have you on it either. I think it was just me, Nita, and Josh at the time.
Right. I tracked late.
Yeah. And then I threw on the click track, threw it on the speakers throughout the house, and just walked through and just like, and I had an absolute blast doing it. So thank you so much for having me be a part of that. I really had fun with it.
You did like 6 shots and a beer or something, and you couldn't have filmed it again. You would have died. You're like,
well, I'm getting to be a professional. I probably could have done it again, but the timing of the cannonball at the end probably wouldn't have been as good.
And the throwing of the bass.
Yeah.
You might have thrown the bass of the pole and jumped on the mat.
Yeah. I thought about taking the bass with me at one point, but I was like, be careful.
I thought you were. I thought custom inlays in the beginning, so I said, no, he won't jump in with that one. That was a tune. There's been a couple songs that I've done lately where I never learned Ace of High before. Mm-hmm. So I was sitting down to track, kind of going, I had to hear what she played because there's a lot of harmonies in that song. So I had to kind of discern the harmonies. And there's a lot of, it's played to the click, but with the playing, sometimes with guitar players, you got to kind of ride that snake a little bit too. So you got to,
especially when you're doing a song from Iron Maiden, like back when they were recording back in the 70s, as most musicians will know, when you're trying to transcribe it directly from the album, right. They were a little loosey-goosey with their tempos back in those days.
Yeah, we call it riding the snake. You got to ride the snake. Yeah, and even with the you have to kind of see. I needed a matcher. You go first. You kind of set the tone. So that was the tune that I had to kind of learn. And Adrian Smith's solos no easy task. But it was fun, man. That one really came together good.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy with it. Again, if you haven't already, check it out. I'm sure they have. But you mentioned that the fact that we met in 2004 before we obviously have gotten back in contact with each other. I do remember this. It was in the MTV New York studios, as I recall. A lot of people know from Avenged, we were part of this, I don't know, it was like the last push of hard rock or metal, whatever you're going to call it, before they stopped really playing music. They had like this last push, and there was some more popular bands that were introducing some bands that haven't breaking through to, let's call it, the mainstream at the time. So we had our friends in Good Charlotte introduce us to the TRL crowd. I can't remember who was it that introduced you guys to.
We were doing the Headbangers Ball.
That's what it was.
We were there with Josh. You guys did your segment, and we were there at the same time, and then we came in after you guys did your segment.
Yeah, that's what it was. I can't remember. Okay, so we did a couple of different things. We did Headbangers Ball, and then we did the TRL thing. So I got them mixed up because it's in the same fucking place.
Yeah, kind of early. You're probably only half shit faced at that point.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, dude, there was a couple of times going in and seeing Josta in there, and it's always early as fuck when they filmed. And I remember not drinking that morning, mind you, but still from the night before going in and just being like, yeah, I'm not going to do too well here. I'm just going to sit in the back and let everybody else do the talking.
That was cool though. I mean, is it Awake the Fallen or Awaken the Fallen or? Yeah,
Awaken the Fallen is when we started to get some recognition on Headbangers Ball, and then by the time we did City of Evil is when they were giving us time on like the TRL and shit.
That record was out. That was like 2003 or 4 when we did that.
It was 2003 and 4, and then we did City of Evil in 5, I believe.
Right. That was we jammed that record a lot. But that was the one where I was just, who the fuck are these guys? It was pretty cool. I actually even wrote a riff. God, and it was what's the name of the first song on that record?
Unholy Confessions.
Yeah, so I wrote I came up, I got a cool riff, and I bring it in, I start jamming out, and McLean's all, that's that first jam on the like years later, 10 years later. I think that's that that Avenged record, the first. I'm all fuck it, almost like the same chord changes, the subliminally
That
subliminally
shit
slip.
happens all the time, man. You're writing something, it's good to it's good to have other people in the band, because I'll call out a lot of things, or Matt will call something out, Brian, whoever's in there, and you come, you're like, I got this, and sometimes it's even just the melody. It's the riff is completely different, but you go like, yeah, that sounds like Michael Jackson's "Beat It," dude. We can't use that.
Now wait a minute. I don't know if it was the last record, but maybe the record before. There was some pretty close to, call it the riff police, where they're fucking pull it over.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. No, we went pretty. It was the album before. It was Hail to the King album. Rob had said something in a couple of magazines about it, and when we got asked about it later, they're like, "Are you offended by that?" And I'm like, "No, we know Rob. It's fine. Like, he has his opinion on it. And we're not denying it. Yeah, we very much wear influences on our sleeves sometimes, and yeah, we took a little bit of stuff that we've grown up on and really loved, and we're just like, yeah, here you go. This is a song that we're gonna pay tribute, and fucking. Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna do a song, some tribute, "Sad But True" is a pretty good one too.
Yeah, it's not gonna be song 4 from the Thin Lizzy B-side. It's not gonna be one that nobody knows.
Well, yeah, and then Lars came out, and we have a relationship with the guys in Metallica, then and now. And Lars came out and was just like, yeah, it's really flattering. There's 12 notes and only so many beats you can play in the music. So,
for sure.
What are you gonna do? But yeah, I wanted to talk about other couple things, especially your time with Machine Head that we were already into. In 2018, you had to step away. It seems to me that you were having some health issues. Is that correct, or was there some other underlying issues?
There was no health issues.
Oh, okay.
No. It was the end of a marriage, so it was just time to get divorced.
Gotcha.
It was 16 years of, awesome times, did some amazing things, wrote some, amazing records, and had some amazing experiences, and it just wasn't anymore. It was just time to move on. So I quit in September. Dave quit the next day, and we had a tour lined up, a States tour. So I was hoping that they would get somebody to replace me, but then Dave quit. So it's just like either we had to honor the tour. Mm-hmm. So we honor the tour. Pretty awkward. We finish it up.
Imagine.
Last show at home. I've been gone. We had a 2-year-old kid at that point, and Marta's been home. We started the business. All right, I'm home. It's over. And so she goes to the show. It was in the Santa Cruz Mountains. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the area, but so it's a windy road. I drive her home. She went to the show. She just gets hammered. She's in the pit, she's, smoking pot with randoms in the pit, and just goes up the balcony, and she's throwing up on my cousins and stuff. And, just violently ill. After the show, it's like I'm saying goodbye, 16-year career, saying, "Where's my wife? I can't see her." So they wheel her backstage right after the show on a road case. Just, I can't get up. It was amazing. It was the best.
That's a great send off. That's a great send off. Yeah.
I take her home. She wakes up the next morning so hungover. All right, baby, I'm home. I look at my phone, and there's a text from Kerry King going, "Hey, man, can you learn 19 Slayer songs and be out here in a couple of days? Gary's got to go."
So that I was going to ask about how that came out too. Like, you filled in for Slayer the next day. That's
she's still hungover from the night before, and I dropped the phone on the bed. I think did I read it wrong? Did he mean maybe, or it's like, no, we need you here now. And so that was on a Sunday. Monday, I go pick up my Machine Head gear out of storage. And on Tuesday, I'm on a plane out to Germany learning 19 Slayer songs.
Wow. And how was that going from Machine Head to Slayer shows? I mean, what was the big difference, I guess? And not, awkwardness aside from your last show to the new show in Germany, how was that change of pace for you?
Man, I'm going from some serious esteem issues in my playing and my worth in the industry, and just, wondering where I am and like, am I worthy to be in a band? And going from that to one of the biggest metal bands in the world, and my heroes, the reason why I play heavy music, saying, hey, you're worthy. We want you to be here to take care of this spot. Taking, Gary Holt's a hero of mine from, 35 years in the Bay Area scene, watching him just be this innovator, filling some pretty big shoes, man. So I think that Slayer experience saved my musical career to where it's like, and maybe saved me as a person in some sense, just going,
Gotcha.
hey, but it was cool stepping into, that band and helping out. And, I was part of their meet and greets, and they really welcomed me as like, not just kind of a fill-in, but you're part of Slayer for this bit. And had some great experiences with some real people. And, the two camps operate completely different. The Machine Head camp, totally pro, and but this is just a different world that I was stepping into. And Lamb of God's out there, and Anthrax is out there, and Obituary guys are out there, man. I was just welcomed with open arms and, tackled a pretty big, not really an obstacle, but, just this thing that's put in front of you where you're like, okay, hey, dude, you're filling in for Steve Harris. We need you to learn 20 Maiden songs.
Yeah, I don't think I do too well at that.
But you do it, you would bear down and you do it, and you'd find that, every musician probably has that within them, but it took that happening for me to kind of find that for me.
That's very interesting you say that. In all honesty, yeah, I mean, to be able to do that does kind of, it opens you up. You get complacent for a little while, I guess, as a musician, and it's hard to say, like, you get to a point, you're really stoked, you get a certain amount of success. I mean, for you, you've been in the business for a lot longer than I have. And that's not to show your age, that's to show your legendary status. You get to a certain point, and then you get a little complacent sometimes. It's easy to, rather. I don't know if it's the way for everybody, but, I could play anything in this genre. I don't need to learn anything more. You get to that point, and then something happens, and you go, no, I still got work to do, and you rising to that challenge every time you accomplish it in some way, whatever that challenge is very uplifting. I know that for myself, so I can sympathize with you a little bit there.
Yeah, I've spent, probably the last 5 years or so just really working on my technique and trying to become a better player. And, this downtime is really, I've opened up the home studio and really gotten into that. And recording yourself, man, you're your own worst critic. It's just like spacebar, Command Z, do it again,
And then after you think it's done, you go back and you're like, oh, fuck.
Oh no, solo that shit up, double it. It's been really good for me in that sense too. And, doing the BPMD project, being the only guitar player, and, Rob played all the rhythms for pretty much the whole time I was in the band. I come in and do my solos, and so not tracking rhythms for a bit, and having the BPMD guys going, hey, you're killer. Let's, everything you're doing is great. So that was another kind of the first recording that I've done since ending that previous band that I'm trying to say now, the previous band. And so it was good for me to record with them and have it. And that record just came out a couple of weeks ago, and people were digging it, and just lots of good things to say about the playing. And so it's all that shot in the arm and that positive reinforcement that, I'm a 17-year-old emo girl sometimes, you just need to have that.
Well, it's okay. Everybody has those moments for different reasons. It's okay to have them. Okay. I've had them too, people. Don't worry. But you already mentioned your wife, Marta, who I've known for a lot of years as well. Been really good friends with the Bleeding Through guys. A lot of people might not know this about Avenged Sevenfold, but before I was even in the band, Bleeding Through were one of the bands that would take Avenged out, and then I got to know the Bleeding Through guys afterward. And then when Marta joined the band and started doing keyboards for them, met Marta. This goes back to probably around the same time I met you, or even a little bit earlier.
Yeah, early.
So how did you guys meet? And, I read somewhere how you proposed. How did that all go down? And how are you guys? How are you guys living now?
Well, we met on tour. Well, I mean, we got together on tour.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
Hey, we're just talking about you right now.
Oh, hey Marta.
Oh, right on time. And she's getting.
How you been?
No, I need the approval. What do you think?
How's it going?
Okay. Good. How are you?
Hey, I love it. That's awesome. She's getting our son's.
Hi. I'm Jessica.
Hi,
Jessica.
Johnny.
That's Johnny. We're doing.
Nice to meet you.
I
Hey,
think they're awesome.
is that a bar? Is that the bar at your house?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that looks good.
Thank you. Yeah, I got to design it. We did it. We did a remodel at our house, and my wife got the rest of the house, but I got the upstairs bar. So
Nice. I get to do the bar at the bar.
The bar.
yeah, the back lounge we were just talking about.
The back
Exactly.
lounge.
Yeah. Phil's already got a ditty for it for the next commercial. So
Cool. Well, you're gonna come up sometime and sign the drum. Or
He's gonna
something.
jam with the
Oh, yeah.
Americans.
I'm gonna be up. As soon as this shit all goes back to a little bit more of normalcy here in California, I'm totally down. I'd love to. I will have some drinks and play some sloppy ass bass.
Yes.
Perfect.
We
What?
we got a Bon Jovi song waiting for you, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
you just-
wonderful.
Okay,
I'm
so
totally in.
Yeah,
One
that's
second.
great.
I want to do Wolf here. What do you think?
Yeah.
And then I'll do Jaden here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Ew.
All right.
Mink. I love it.
See you later.
Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. That was like perfect timing too. I was literally just asking you about your wife Marta, and she was in.
Bing bang. So I met her at like the Metal Hammer Awards in 2007, and of course, hot girl. You're like everybody in the music industry knows who she is. And,
Mhm.
we ended up taking Bleeding Through and Hatebreed out in 2010 for our last run of the Blackening. We've been on tour for almost 4 years on this record, and so this is our last headlining run, and they're supporting. So we get to know each other, and we end up hooking up towards the end, and I was just done. I'm done. I'm just played all my cards. It was the worst poker hand I've ever played. It's just like, I'm in. I'm just in. So she made me work. She made me work for a bit, and she moved up here and got married not too long after that.
What year did you guys get married?
Got married in 2012.
2012. Okay, so you guys been together for longer than no.
First
I got
10 years.
married 2014. So yeah, I got married 2 years later.
Yeah.
So, and you guys got kids. How's that?
We do.
Yeah. So
Dude.
I know under quarantine that can be a challenge. I have a 3-year-old son. How have you been? How have you guys been getting through it? And what have you guys been doing? I mean, it's good and bad, right? You get to spend a lot of time with your kids, but then at some point you're like, it's a little too much.
Listen, man, I might catch a lot of shit for this, but my son can be a real dick.
How old is your son?
He's going to be 4 next month.
Okay.
So his name is Wolf, and he's a wild kid. He doesn't listen. He's just going to do it. Get down. He's just going to finish what he's going to do and then come down. Awesome, beautiful kid, but it's a lot. It's a lot. So our daycare we're all, fuck it. She's open. You're still going to daycare. We still need Monday through Friday because we can't do shit. I can't pick up a guitar, dude. I can't pick up a guitar without him just losing his shit and grabbing it and just like, no, Dada, that's too loud.
Oh, yeah. No, I understand. They have opinions pretty early on, man. It's pretty fucking hard to deal with. My son's 3.5. He won't be 4 till February, so they're not that far apart.
Yeah, just a half year or so.
Yeah.
What's your son's name?
My son's name's Franklin. It was my wife's maiden name, and we could call him Frankie that way.
Oh, cool. I like it.
Yeah.
He's going to have a cool Avenged name. Frankie, anything would be cool.
Exactly. I mean, when we're ready to pass the torch down, maybe we'll be like one of those, because all the guys in the bands, we all have sons. So we're like, all right, when we're ready to pass the torch, we'll pull a Guar on it. You guys can start wearing makeup, and you'll be the new Avenged.
Right. You even follow whatever Kiss is going to do. You can kind of do the same thing too.
Yeah, the Kiss Squad, they all did it. It's awesome.
Just whatever their character.
So I know it's been challenging, obviously, as you said, and then the kids stayed in your kids stayed in daycare, and that's so you could get some work done. I totally understand that. Each their own. They have to figure out what they're gonna do during a pandemic and lockdown. What are some of the other things you were doing to pass the time? I know you stayed busy playing guitar. You're doing all these quarantine jams, BPMD, getting that record out. But like more along the lines of passing the time to entertain yourself. Any books, shows, movies, podcasts, even like what have you been doing for entertainment?
Well, I mean, I have to say that my band Violence is back together. We immediately went back into Violence after I left Machine Head, and we're recording a new record. We've been doing shows, bunch got this year, so I've got a new thrash record that I'm writing. And but as far as like leisure stuff, I golf, so I try to get out and golf. Not a lot of time for shows, after the kid goes down, then we have maybe an hour or so, I'm catching up
before you got to get to sleep because you know they're going to be up bright and early for you.
Not this morning, man. And he crawls, and sometimes he's up at like 3 and just sleepwalks in, and go back, just broken sleep, bro. It's like one thing I haven't done, and not for any other reason than, I go through streaks of not drinking, and I haven't drank since the shelter in place. So I'm over 3 months without a drink right now.
Wow, you must feel like $1,000,000. You probably feel a lot better than me. I did quite the opposite. Quarantine happened. I said, sweet baby, I got no one to look good for. Let's put on some poundage and drink some beers. And then I started doing my show live, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm looking pretty plump. I better break it down a little bit. I'm carrying that COVID-19, as they say.
So you need that filter. There needs to be a COVID-19 filter.
Yeah. Hey, Brandon, why don't you have that for me? Make me look a little thinner over there. Yeah, so that's great. So golfing, and then I can completely sympathize with the you only got about an hour to watch something that isn't a child thing. But did you ever get into podcasts? I mean, you're on a podcast right now, so I kind of have to ask. It's like being on Soap Opera Digest and being like, "Oh, I don't watch soap operas." So.
I haven't. I'll listen if somebody puts up one that has somebody that I like. But her parents live in Idaho, so we'll drive there, and it's about a 12-hour drive. And so she put on that Dirty John,
Oh yeah.
And that was pretty cool. And I like them. I just don't. When I'm in my car, that's my time.
Yeah.
I don't even listen to music in my car. It's just like everybody just shut the fuck up. That's why I go to Violence practice and everybody's fucking loud. And so it's and I what was that the Indian guy who's in jail for murdering the Asian girlfriend in high school, Saeed something.
Serial. I guess. Is that what? Okay, yeah. I listened to that a few years ago.
Ariane or something like that. Ariane Saeed.
Yeah.
So I listened to that one, and they're interesting, but I don't fucking have the time, man.
Yeah, no, I get it. So for me, I started getting into podcasts a couple years ago. Kind of right at the same time I started this, or actually, I guess it's only been a year. Shit. I started getting into podcasts because it was an escape from music. Because, it's like, all right, we're still talking about music. A lot of things I listen to are music, comedian, and wrestling related, professional wrestling related.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, and then like our mutual friend Chris has his podcast, Talk is Jericho, and he's been doing it for almost as long as Joe Rogan, it seems. Joe Rogan's the godfather. And then
there's got to be like 3 Jerichos. There has to be 3 of him.
Dude, he's everywhere you look, and it's amazing. And and it's quality in each thing too. It's like it's not like this. Like his show takes a dip because he's got to be at a Dynamite showing on Wednesday night. I don't know if you watch any of that professional wrestling, but it's awesome to watch him.
I watched the WWE because he came to town, and I brought my kid one time, and then we started watching it. We got into it because of him, and met Baron Corbin, and he's kind of a metal guy too, and he's been super cool with the kids, and
Oh, that's right.
So we go when it comes to town and keep the dudes, and so it's fun. But like it looks like the all elite stuff that he's doing right now seems pretty cool. But man, I don't have the time. And my kid's 14 now. He's not really into it anymore. You know?
Yeah, he's right in that neither world. He'll come back at some point. That's what happens. Like the neither world, the teen years, you find some other entertainment, maybe girls, maybe whatever it might be, and you stop watching wrestling for a little while, and then it becomes nostalgic, and you get right back into it. At least that was my experience.
Right. Now, I went once way back in the day. I want to say it was like maybe 1987, and we saw Roddy Piper and Macho Man and Coco Beware and the Honky Tonk Man, and
throwing out some real names there with
George,
Coco Beware.
That heyday, you know, Ricky Dragon Steamboat was in the cage match or something like that.
Fuck yeah!
And then I saw how phony it was, and I'm like, this ain't even. It's like big shocker to my mom. This isn't even real. I felt all just
hoodwinked. You felt hoodwinked.
I got to hang out with. I'm a big Phillies fan, and so I got to hang out with some of the dudes after they lost the World Series to the Yankees, and I went back to their hotel after and partied. But a couple of them were out front and they were smoking cigarettes, and I was like, "Oh man, Chase Utley smokes cigarettes, man." It was just like such a bummer, He could pound in beers and everything would be cool, but it's like, really, man, you smoke? So it was the same kind of thing. Finding out about wrestling being fake.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, that's the part that I kind of like about it. That's why I am a wrestling fan. I like that it's kind of like soap opera for guys.
Yes.
I love it. There's a great storyline, and for guys, they'll always have something hilarious in there too. That's the shit that I really love. The really over the top shit.
Right, Kevin Owens, a lot of those guys. You believe them so much that that's how they really are.
So you mentioned that you were able to take your family out to some of these wrestling events. These days, I mean, as you kind of touched upon it a little bit, just on the quarantine side of things, but how are you feeling about raising a family in the given climate, societal climate that's going on right now, or what approach are you going to take to it, moving forward?
Well, we found our social bubble, and we do a Taco Tuesday every other Tuesday, and we have people that come over. We keep it outside. We keep it respectful on how everybody's feeling. It's hard to believe a lot of what you read or what you don't read, or we're just trying to be kind of like how we treat everybody in real life. Just in general is just. Just be respectful. We're wearing the masks when we're supposed to. We're being clean. We're keeping everything down, and we're still trying to maintain some sense of being social with our group and with our core. And that's why even doing these collab jams and reaching out and recording with people, it's still reaching out. And you and I connecting, and it's just. Chatting offhand, it's just like all these other avenues are opening up in communication and stuff, and to where I think that when everything does open up, it's going to be even all that more joyous and positive, and all these things happening again. Because we've talked about, dude, we got to go golfing, or we need to hang out. We're talking about jamming.
Yeah,
things happen, all really positive, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, and we will get to those things. Absolutely. I mean, I'd love to golf with you. I will have to admit, you did send me in a text message. It was a little disappointing, much like you said for wrestling and for the guy smoking cigarettes. It was a little. You said you stay sober when you golf, and I'm just like, for me, it's a little disdisappointing, man. I mean, I don't golf without drinks.
They go hand in hand, I used to belong to a monthly club, a men's club, golf club, and we golf all over Northern California. And we had our major tournament was in Reno, so that would be our 2-day tournament, and people get away from their wives and stuff like that. And so I would usually take people out to, this is my single days. I would take them all out. I knew the guy at the titty bar up there, so we go to the strip joint, and it would be like, I'd look at who was in front of me on the leaderboard from day one. I'd go, raspberry commie, double raspberry commie for you. These guys just hammered, maybe all puking on the course the next day, and just
so you're just out there trying to take advantage so you get like the higher ranking on the tournament. I see you, man.
In that sense, but for me, man, golf it's so fucking hard anyway that I would have a tendency to maybe throw some clubs if I got drunk and just, I'm just trying to save money in that sense.
Oh, okay. If you're trying to save money, I understand. I was going to say, wait, what's the problem with throwing the clubs in anger when you're drunk on the course? No, for me, I just started golfing for real last year, and my game's trash anyway. It's not going to get. And I'm good with it as long as I just keep pace. If I lose the ball, cool, whatever. I'm just going to keep pace and have some drinks and shoot the shit with some friends while you're outside. It's something to do. It's fun,
Yeah, keep up.
Yeah. So
I was supposed to golf with Matt. I want to say maybe a year ago. Him and Darren from Steel Panther and Squiggy from the festivals. They had something lined up, and I had to get back. But we'll have to get down to play. He lives on a course, don't he?
Yeah. He lives on a course down in Palm Springs area. I'm across the street from a course here in Huntington. Yeah, it's too far for you, but you could come to Huntington. It's not quite as far.
Yeah, that's doable.
All right, man. Well, I think that's about all the time I'm going to take of yours today. But thank you again for being on the show, and thanks for reconnecting and letting me be on that awesome cover with you, man, for Aces
What
High.
the hell's going on over there, man?
That sounds like my son downstairs getting into some shit. That happens every time. When you do a podcast at your own house and your family's around, it's going to happen.
It's real life, man. Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man.
All
right, tell the fam I said hi. Talk to you soon, man.
Be well.
Later.
See ya.
All right, and that'll do it for this episode of Drinks with Johnny. Thank you so much for checking out the show. Make sure you head over and check out the Aces High cover. If you just put it in a YouTube search where you're at right now, I'm sure you'll be able to find that. It was an absolute blast doing the cover and reconnecting with Phil Demmel. Thanks again. Couldn't thank him enough for being a part of the show and that cover. For more Drinks with Johnny, head over to drinkswithjohnny.com. There you will find official merch as well as the archives of all other shows. Some of the people that we spoke about with Phil have been guests on this show, and I've been having a lot of fun with this. So make sure you head over to drinkswithjohnny.com. Oh, and sign up for the newsletter while you're there. You can get a newsletter written by yours truly every week or so, as well as receive a 20% discount on all the official Drinks with Johnny merch that's found right there on the .com. Make sure you're subscribing to the show right here on YouTube, wherever that is down here. And head over. You can also find this anywhere you podcast. If you can't sit in front of your phone or computer for an hour or so while we're doing these chats, you can always listen anywhere you podcast. Apple, Spotify, Google, any of them. Go type in Drinks with Johnny and find us and subscribe there as well. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, believe it or not, at Drinks with Johnny. We still have one of those. So I guess until next time, cheers.